Well, good morning, everybody. It's Monday, March 11th, 2024. In some circles, this is an ominous date. Supposedly, there's legislation that takes effect about the banking situation. I won't go into that. I didn't want to make that kind of video, but I am paying attention. I know a lot of you are also watching the same kind of sources, and you know what I'm already talking about here. I normally just kind of focus on my place and what I'm doing. I've been out here 10 months, living off grid, very intentional kind of living in New Mexico. And today I just kind of want to make a different kind of video and just engage in a conversation with others. If you want to weigh in, that'd be great. I'd love to hear from you to a few different topics. I'd just like to know, for people that have done or made a similar move to live off grid recently, like me, why'd you do it? What prompted you? What steps did you take to get where you are in the process, wherever you are? If you're thinking about it, I'd like to know your thoughts as well. Maybe some questions as to how to do it. And that's what I'm trying to do on this little YouTube channel here, is kind of give some insight into how I'm doing it. As an artist, I've always appreciated going into other artists' studios and seeing their work in progress, not just finished products, but how they work. What is their environment like? Some artists are incredibly messy in their studios, and like Francis Bacon, for example, there's a wonderful film about him in his studio getting drunk throughout the day. And it's just so revealing to see how he worked. One of my favorite films. So I always appreciate that candor that comes along with people who are making new inroads in their life and their process and their creativity. So I'd love to know what people are doing out there. And I'm an extreme YouTube junkie. I'm watching videos of people who are building their dream house and living off grid and having an intentional lifestyle and changing, just changing. I over the weekend heard a phrase. I was at a sweat lodge out here in New Mexico, which was fantastic. And I heard a phrase, and it just got me thinking, ruminating through the weekend after I heard it. And the phrase was this, or the thought was this, that the Western culture needs to see it before they believe it. But Native Americans need to believe it before they can see it. But I remember back to John Trudell, who was a Lakota Sioux, and he said in the documentary called Trudell, which I highly recommend, love John Trudell, met him a couple times, wonderful man, poet, thinker, speaker, activist, and go on and on about John Trudell. But he said, when he was asked about his beliefs, he thought for a minute, and this was at the close of the documentary, he said, I don't believe in anything. You either know or you don't know. There's no belief involved. So those are the three different approaches to the truth, right? You can see it and then believe it. You can believe your eyes. You can believe it and then see it. Okay. But is that just wishful thinking and wish fulfillment when you believe it and then you see it? A lot of people convince themselves of certain things because of their belief system. But what John Trudell was saying was that there's a third way of knowing that doesn't involve belief at all. I'd like to know what other people think about this, because I think it's very, very captivating, and I've been thinking about it all weekend. And one of the reasons I'm out here is to get away from believing in anything. And through experience, and that's what, the basic premise of Siddhartha, for example, a novel I taught and read many, many times, is just that. This whole life journey into knowing. And how do you know? You know through experience. And there's no substitute for experience. You can believe all you want. You can see the world. You can see into your mind. You can take psychedelics and think you know about another dimension. You can maybe you saw, right, a UFO or what you think, and you believe in that now. I don't know what people's belief systems are, but I challenge those things because what is true experience? What is true experience? You know, through your core and through almost repetition and through a process, right, of knowing almost macro, micro, when you really experience the entirety of it and get to know it, whatever the it is, then you have no longer use for belief. It's as simple as that. You don't have to believe in anything. You trust your experience, and that's the wisdom, right? I believe, trappings of the language, right? I know that to be true. I know that to be true as a teacher. I taught many things in years prior to this that I believed in, and I believed them to be true, and I now know differently. How did that come about? Well, through the process of knowing and co-creating. I believe the antidote to whatever mess this world is in currently, and for all time, for all we know, is the artistic creative process, and that's why I've dedicated myself to it my entire life. If you have, speak to me on that level. What is your process? How do you see? How do you know anything? Okay. How do you know anything to be true? If you say the truth is just all relative, then there's no basis of truth whatsoever. Okay. But if anything is true, well, how did you get there? And how do you know that you're there? Because I thought I knew, or I believed I knew, and now I know differently. I know that even the stuff I was teaching and was very dedicated to was not truthful, was just not real. And I'm talking about, subjects like world history that are supposed to be factual, based on evidence, archaeology, these kinds of things, even astronomy. You read enough and the numbers are just literally astronomical. So how do you know? And how do they know that they know? Okay. And it goes into epistemology. How do you know anything? Right? Socrates, all I know is I know nothing. Well, how did he get to that point? Okay. What is the nothing? And is that where this all leads? Is like that Zen philosopher of just knowing nothing, to do nothing, right? The Taoist belief. So it's just a conversation. I'll get back to the building. I'll show you what I'm doing in the process. There's a lot going on. It's March 11th, so spring is just beginning, although we did have snow a couple days ago. So I can get back to outdoor building, and I hope to really, really change my landscape out here this year. Build plant my orchard, build the landscape, and another project that I can only do during warm weather. And I'm looking forward to doing that and to sharing that. But I just kind of wanted to plant this conversation. I'm really curious about what people believe out there, and I don't want to just get it through social media. I know that YouTube is that, but not through TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever the hell it is. Okay, just real people. Anybody that finds this channel had to do a little bit of searching or some investigation along these lines of off-grid living. But there's a whole philosophy of why people go off-grid, right? I want to know yours. What is it? And then what drives you? And then what are you striving for? And how do you know if you're getting any closer to the truth of it all? All right. So that's it. That's what I've been thinking about. Just kind of sharing that. All right. Take care.